Hey, YouTube, what's happening? Let's do a real quick video update on Bitcoin, um, where it's been, where it's at, where it's going. Real quick, just to analyze it. As usual, we'll go macro to micro. So we're on the monthly here. You can really see the long-term patterns here a little bit better. Um, just looking at Elliott Wave. So let's see if we can enlarge this. It's not exactly ideal. But as you can see here, um, you've got some kind of sideways, kind of up and down, what have you, right? And then price comes down here, right? That's kind of like a reset. So that kind of tells you like it went way below this trough here. And so that's kind of like the signifying the end of whatever this is, consolidation. But then you kind of get like a wave one here, slight correction for a month. Then you get a wave three. So in Elliott, wave three is always the biggest. And so here it is. And then you get a wave four correction, which should never penetrate wave one. And it clearly doesn't, since wave three was basically parabolic. Kind of topped out here, corrected. Totally normal. This is probably, if I were to draw Fibonacci from here to here, this is probably between 38 and 50% retracement. Totally okay. And then you got like a wave 5 finish here, which is kind of like a zigzag, which is not unheard of either. Um, Oftentimes waves, like if you were to go on lower time frames, these waves, this looks like a straight line, right? That's because they're monthly, though. If you go down like daily and whatnot, it'll be a bunch of smaller zigzags that make this up. As you can see, there's long wicks and such, so there's going to be red bars somewhere. Um, so you get the wave 5, it ends here, and now you're in correction. So you should have gone short or at least cashed out. But as you can see here, you got 3 red bars, 2 green, 3 red. Classic Elliott wave correction, ABC correction pattern, A, B, C zigzag. The A and the B are going to be about the same length, which they are, as you can see, here to here, here to here. Um, so textbook's ABC correction. And so now we've got a green bar starting here on the month. So the question, the question becomes, has it bottomed? And so looking at our general indicators here, we have ADX, we have a customized squeeze momentum indicator. It's not the original. The original is created by John Carter. This is somebody's personal. But if you want to know more about this, it's a great tool. And so the intellectual property of the original goes to John Carter. And so he's got a company called Simpler Trading. There's a YouTube channel you can go. He gives out like he'll do daily. I don't know if they're daily, maybe weekly. They might be daily, but he does like little free videos saying like, "Hey, this is what I'm looking at, what I think I'm gonna play," and then talks about it a little bit. So you can kind of get free trades off it and learn and such. And he shows you his, and he has other indicators too and such. So legit trader. So check him out. And then this is just the CCI, which I use for. This helps me get in and out of trades early. So I use this for confirmations, but also signal generation, when to buy or sell. This is momentum, and then the red dots here are extreme consolidation. And so when you have that, usually there's a breakout in one direction after that ends. This I use to see how much volatility is in there, and then I don't always rely on the directional bias, but it helps, especially if it's clearly strong. Like here, there's still volatility. Directional bias is still very bullish. So it's like, okay, is this topped yet? I don't go by price action alone. I use confirmations. The more the better. So if all these indicators tell the same story as price action, to me that is perfect alignment of the stars, and it's like, okay, it's an eclipse or whatever. That means it's a go. Time to make a trade. It's going to be less risky, higher probability of success. So anyway, we got the classic ABC. So let's go down to the weekly here and see if this is actually bottoming. Um, and here you see ABC right there. There was a squeeze here. You can see you got the 6 red dots. Then it stops. And then pow. So on this indicator, the green says, okay, volatility is expanding here. And so it fits because there's 2 white dots. So that means the squeeze ended. But if you see that this price action bars here are really small, it doesn't actually kick off till the green dot comes. So typically you want to place your trade in the red dots though, because it's extreme consolidation, so the volatility is lower. So if you're like trading options, you can get in on the cheap, and then when it does explode, like down here, you're gonna make out like a bandit. But it depends on your strategy too and your risk management. It's more risky. Well, it depends on how you define risk. So if it's cheaper and you use tight stops, then you can get out for a small loss, right? So, but you have to guess right. So that's where the risk management comes in. The CMT designation, they use a two bar confirmation. So here's 2-bar confirmation because this closes lower than this range. This closes lower than this range. Here's another one. And so ideally you get the first 2-bar, which is right here, out of a consolidation pattern. And then you ride basically ride the move for a swing. Like you don't want to just go look for any 2-bar confirmations. Like you could have traded this one because it's in the squeeze. But like now if you're going to see this and trade short here, it's like okay, you might get lucky. And the reason we use confirmations is because it gives you 3, 4, 5 pieces of evidence that all tell the same story, and so it increases your chance of success. And so if you look here, yeah, you got green volatility expansion. Momentum's not really that strong. There's not really any volatility. There's a strong bearish bias, but that's obvious. But for me, the reason I would not short is because you got price down here at the lowest point, but you got the CCI coming back up into the blue. So that's a negative confirmation. Price shouldn't be at its lowest with the CCI coming back upside. So here you got price basically trough down here, and then the CCI peaked at its lowest, and price was at its lowest here. That's a positive confirmation, but now it's kind of going sideways a little bit, but it's kind of going down, like it's right down here near the trough. But look at this, you got it angling up 45 degrees back up into the blue. That's not a good sign to go short. So you either wait or you go do some analysis on other charts and see if it's time to go long. And so here's a very good indication that it might be bottoming. You got a lot of sideways action. You had a move here after this squeeze. CCI troughed right here. Price continues to go lower, but look, the CCI is back up around the 0. It's back in the blue. So typically how the CCI works is when it's, out of the blue, which is 100 and negative 100, that's like kind of like extreme bullish or extreme bearish. And so here it breaks out, and then you have this move. That's because cash is flowing out very strongly. Like then you add in the squeeze and the momentum, And you've got volatility, and then you can see the bearish bias kicks off right here where that 2 bar comes in. So it all kind of aligns, right? So that was back in my other video around here at the end of the squeeze when I said, yeah, now is the time to go short because you have all these confirmations with the CCI right here and a 2 bar price action confirmation. So the chances of making that move profitable and using maybe a tight stop or something up here, just very small loss, very high probability trade. And so I said, now's the time to go. And it went, but then it basically ended. And then you've got momentum carrying price down a little bit and such because there's volatility in there as well. But guess what? The bars are small. Look at how small these bars are. That's because cash is flowing out. Well, in this case, flowing in, preventing the downside sell pressure from taking it too far. But you get the point. So that's how we use confirmations. This is not looking very bearish at all. We've got a squeeze here. Volatility is up high here around 45. That might be peaking. So this move could be kind of ending. It might go maybe a little bit lower, but like if you want to, it's just not a good time right now to go either direction unless you want to play this squeeze. It's extreme consolidation, which means when it ends, it'll have to break out one way or the other. And so, like I said, you can buy some cheap options at this time. Maybe not on Bitcoin, but like on equities. That's how you would play the squeeze. But you can use it here on Bitcoin as a timing element. You can say, okay, you got this squeeze going. Here's the thing, though. You have to know the controlling time frame, and that's usually where the squeeze kicks off. And so it looks like the daily's controlling. So the investors that are controlling this security, they're trading off the daily. They're looking at the daily and making trades off that and moving the market that way because you've got to squeeze here and then it makes a move after it ends. You got to squeeze here and then it makes an actual move here, right? So if you go down to like, I don't know, 2 hour or whatever, let's see. You've got squeezes going on, but there's no moves because it's not the controlling time frame. They're not looking at the 2 hour and making plays off it. So we'll look at the daily. The 4 hour is also good. Just to kind of see more detail. But as you can see, right, we've got this line here, but essentially price breaks that support. It kind of turns into resistance. It never really goes. It's kind of range bound sideways, and it never goes above this here, which is kind of this war zone here. And it kind of forms like, if you were to draw trend lines, this is kind of like a descending triangle, which suggests, not always, but it suggests a higher probability of price going to the next lower degree. And so you can see right here, it kind of breaks out. Like the triangle line would be here, and then it breaks upside of it. But then it busts, it fails, which is not uncommon. When you trade triangle patterns, they often bust, and they'll come back to the apex. And so you can see it busted, kind of tried again, not too successful, right? And then wham, makes a move to the next lower degree. That's Fibonacci, so in case you're wondering. But yeah, so like here it looks like kind of like a triangle. It's doing kind of like it's consolidating, right? So like if you were to draw trend lines, you could kind of make like a triangle here. So that's a lot better of a sign than a descending triangle, because a triangle can break upside or downside. Still going to descending, but it's just, since it's descending, it's more likely to make a move downside to the next lower degree. But yeah, so let's see. It's kind of consolidating here, and it's not really doing much, but I would say It's not a good time to actually place a trade, but um, considering we have an ABC correction, that's kind of textbook, where you have the A and the C are kind of equal in length. I would say that it's a very, very good chance that it's bottoming, considering the CCI is a negative confirmation. Um, there's just not enough information though at this time, so it looks like right here, like this could just kick off upside again, right? Um, or it could just be another, 1 or 2 bar correction upside and then go sideways a little, and then who knows? There's just not enough information um, on these charts, and so it's a no-go right now unless you want to throw darts at the board and play the squeeze. But still, all this kind of the trend is bearish, so uh, I wouldn't fight the trend personally. So if I was gonna guess, I'd go bearish. But I would actually do nothing at this point. It's not a good point to risk money. Um, it's just kind of going sideways. It's not in a really good pattern either. And it's just not worth it to commit my money because the market hasn't committed yet. So that's the Bitcoin update. We'll just kind of keep an eye on it. It's in the works, like, but we got to keep an eye on it. We want to really get some really good confirmations. So we'll keep an eye on the daily since this is controlling and see where this squeeze goes. Like, if it does start going back upside, there's no reason to get in like right now. Like, it's at this point it came down enough to where you can wait for confirmation and still make a good amount of money on the way back up. So I'm just gonna wait. We'll see what happens with this squeeze, and then we'll check back in. But that's it for now. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment. Would love to hear your thoughts. And good luck with your trading. Thanks. Take care.